Oh, hey! Video games. Some are art, some are this. But what if I played a video games where you die and then you start at the beginning? That's just what roguelikes are. This intro's god-awful. Yo everybody, my name is Kaspi, and have you ever played Mario Kart Double Dash and wish you could just lose all your progress after dying? Because in that case, you'd be a psychopath. But when built around it, games where all progress is lost after dying can be a lot of fun for a variety of reasons. Thus why the roguelike genre is so beloved by lots, including myself. It's also the reason why a lot of people don't like it, but blah. It's a very love it or hate it kind of thing. Just like World Peace and Tumors. So I thought I'd take a look at some of my favorite roguelikes in this rapid roguelike roundup. That's the title of the video! But first, a brief history of the genre. Fun fact, I made a presentation about this a few years ago for school. You don't care, do you? Well, in that case, that's very rude of you, and I think I'll just I won't talk about this game for too long, because it's not really what this video is about. But basically... The genre name comes from the game Rogue, released in 1980, where you go from room to room and it's basically randomly generated. Upon death, you respawn and start from scratch. Well, a few more of the roguelike games came out. Good for them. It wouldn't become the super epic mega sensation it is now until 2011's The Binding of Isaac, released to acclaim. Lots of it. It's a lot of it. If I were a competent YouTuber, this would be the first of the games I talk about. However, I only have it on Wii U, and I can't be bothered to plug that in, so here's Enter the Gungeon. This one is also significant as it was the first roguelike that made me realize this genre is pretty fucking neat shit. Anyways, do you like guns? I certainly like guns. And this game definitely likes guns. A lot of gun. Lot of gun. Lots of gun. But there's a lots of gun. Wow, that's a gun. Oh, that's another gun. Anyways. That's another gun. I think that's why it's called Enter the Gungeon.
That was pretty damn obvious.
You know what? For once, I'm the one with the gun, so you better shut up.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, these won't be like full reviews because I don't want to do that. They're going to be like small first impression things. Forgot to mention that, I guess. Though I have played these pretty extensively before, so it's not like I did one run and decided to talk about it. Let's go! Ooh, yeah, that's a title screen. That's music. Oh yeah, I'm pumped. So as we pop in, we can choose our character. Anyone familiar with this game will notice that I have none of the unlockable characters unlocked. And to that I say... Shut up! They all have different starting weapons, passive perks, and an ability thing. I like the pilot because he has the ability to potentially open chests without a key, and he's just so charming. Just like me!
No, not at all.
I still have the gun. I specify it because, that's why you get cheaper prices from the store clerk, man. Here we have the gameplay. Wow, would you look at that? This game is a top-down shooter bullet hell roguelike. Use the mouse cursor to aim your weapon and then move around while shooting. You can also dodge attacks, and please ignore how bad I did on my first run back in years. Okay, I know. Dodging attacks is needed to succeed, unlike what I did. You walk into a room, panic, win! Sometimes you'll find a chest or a couple other things like a shop or a guy in a cage. And that's the basic loop. It's a ton of fun. The bosses too are really fun to fight. Some are a little easy, but from what I remember, they get real tough later on with a ton of dodging around and rolling over projectiles. I guess that's all I've got to say on this game. It's the go-to example for a roguelike, beyond Binding of Isaac. And that's best explained by not explaining it. I guess I should mention the game's sequel too.
Do you though?
I still have the gun! So what do you do when you enter somewhere? Immediately exit. And thus we have Exit the Gungeon. I have even less to say about this though. Go up the elevator shaft and fight in a side-scrolling perspective instead of a top-down view. It's a lot of fun, and I thought it was something to mention, I guess. I don't know, kill me, I guess?
Ask and you shall receive. Now I'm going to talk about my favorite game, Hot Dog Dungeon. It's a game where you're a hot dog.
Whoa, I'm in hell. Looks suspiciously like my shower. For some reason. Anyways, let's talk about dead cells. Next up, I thought we could talk about... Oh wait, I didn't die and go to hell. This just is my shower. I'm just really good at dodging guns. Next up, I thought we could talk about the other popular style of roguelike, the side-scroller. So let's talk about my favorite of this kind, Dead Cells. Alright, this game famously has a lot of DLC, most recently a Castlevania themed one, which is really cool, and I have none of them. Let's jump into it! This game is a good example of what's known as a roguelite. In a standard roguelike, you don't gain anything for losing. All is lost. I wish it was like that in real life.
Time's up!
Meanwhile, in a roguelite, you gain a little something. You can either get permanent upgrades, some money upon death, or whatever. Now let's head into the game and see what's up. So, the gameplay loop is fairly simple. Run around side-scrolling levels while killing enemies and dodging attacks. The main, for lack of a better term, gimmick are the namesake of the game. The dead cells, or something like that, I don't really know. I think. Anyways, the game's art style is really well done. It's really sleek looking pixel art with incredibly smooth animations. The game is also very challenging because sometimes there's like a million enemies at once, but not in an overbearing way, somehow. I don't know how they managed that. There's also a good variety of weapons and abilities to help you out through the runs. Different swords, bows, and shields. They add a nice variety with how they feel significantly different, and can drastically change how a run will go. I personally prefer a heavy sword, just going down like blah. Murder!
Like what I did?
What are you doing in my challenge? So that's an example of a side-scrolling rogue-like. Some others include Have Nice Death, the previously mentioned Exit the Gungeon, the recently released Ravita, Scourgebringer, Mesmeratu, among many others. Well, now that I've talked about Dead Cells, I thought I could talk about another newer game called Deadlink. Dead Cells, Deadlink, you know, it works, it fits, and it's a lot of fun. Dead something is a very good way of naming a game. Like Dead Hot Dog, that's a game. That's a game right there. Guys. This game is so cool. For most of these, I've done 1 or 2 runs, depending on how much footage I got. However, for this one, I played a good few runs, for a few reasons. For one, it's newer, so I have less experience with it, and thus I might want to play it more simply to have more to talk about. Secondly, this game has multiple characters. While I've only unlocked 2 so far, I thought I'd record runs of both, just to have something to talk about. And lastly, and most importantly, this game is so much fun! Need I play the multi-touch again? It's so good! So in Deadlink, you play as one of 4 playable characters inside of a computer, or something like that. I currently only have 2 characters unlocked. The Hunter, my personal favorite, and the Soldier, the one you start with. They have their own primary, secondary, and 2 abilities. Unlike a lot of other roguelikes, these aren't usually randomized. Besides the secondary, they can't really be changed during the runs, as far as I'm aware anyways. I don't mind this though, as this game is heavily focused on the movement abilities, which I adore. Let's start with the Soldier. His primary is a shotgun that just feels so kablamo. Yeah, his movement ability of choice is a grappling hook, just like a certain Zipping around the map is a ton of fun, especially in this one run where I got an upgrade where the cooldown was reset if it killed someone shortly after using the grapple. So I was just zooming across the map, and once again, kablamo! The Hunter is, as mentioned, my personal favorite of the 2 I've unlocked so far. The reason for this is mainly the primary weapon, the Peacemaker. A revolver kind of thing that has a high fire rate, which is way more my style. His movement ability, however, is nothing to scoff at. It swaps the places of you and an enemy, so you can just go BOOM! So yeah, this game's a ton of fun, and I highly recommend you play it right now. Oh my god, please. And while I don't have time for it, the presentation is absolutely fantastic too. From the visuals that you're seeing now to the music that you're probably listening to. Well, now that I talked about one of the most hype-ass fucking god gamer games ever, how am I going to top that? I'm not. I'm just going to like rapid fire some games because I'm like lazy and I don't really want to keep talking this video long. So, let's go! Shotgun King is one of the most unique roguelikes I've ever played, being more puzzle strategy than action, being chess and all. Phantom Abyss is also quite unique and very fun to run through. 20 minutes till dawn takes 20 minutes, duh. It's kind of fun but stressful, in a good way. I've never played Vampire Survivors, that's it. I speedrun Dashing Fire once upon a time, it's fun, go play it. And lastly, Hades, which is far too big of a task for me to talk about right now because it's my favorite ever, and I can't really cover it in such a short amount of time. Well, this video is now over. So with that, I'm done. Those are some roguelikes. I like roguelikes. I love roguelikes. Roguelikes are great. And I like talking about them. And if you think I implied that I was going to talk about Everybody Want to Switch at the end of the last video, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm not going to talk about it. I refuse.